Hi guys, hope you're doing good. In this video, we are going to learn about loop. Loop means repeating some process again and again. In every programming language, loop plays a major role because if I want to repeat some set of statements again and again, instead of writing those lines again and again in a program to avoid redundancy, we use loop. Right? For example, there are 2-3 lines in a program which is getting repeated again and again in a sequence. Now, instead of writing those lines 10 times again and again, I can put that inside a loop. Now, here in Python, we are going to see about two loops. One is for, another one is while. Let us see those things in detail now. Now, if you want to go through a certain set of statements, or if you want to repeat some certain set of statements for n number of times, I'll be using any loops like either for loop or while loop. Now, here a for loop uses a method called as range, which helps in repeating some set of statements for n number of times. For example, I say for I in range of 10. Now here it means whatever statements that I am going to give within the for loop, that's going to get repeated n number of times. That is, here as for this example is going to get repeated 10 times. Now let me say print, and let me try to print the I value. Let me run this code. You can see the values, that is like from 0 to 9. Now by default it starts at 0 and ends before the value that I give here. For example, if I give 10, it starts from 0 and ends 1 before 10, that is 9. Now here if I want to start from 1, I may need to give like this 1 comma 10. Now when I run this code, you can see that it goes from 1 through 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and you can notice that it doesn't reach 10. It stops before 10. That is the work of this. That is how this range method works. Right now, here this range method has 3 arguments. Let me give you that first to make you understand. Range method has 3 arguments. One is start, stop, and step. Now here start is where I'm going to start, and stop is that where I'm going to stop before, and step, let me explain you step with an example. Let me give 2 here in the position of step. Now it's going to start at 1 and I'm going to stop 1 before 10, and if I want to stop at 10, let me give 11 here so that it starts from 1 and goes through 10, and then step. Now if I give like this, let me run this code and see what's going to happen. Now you can see that 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. So you can see that I'm getting an alternate number because it's stepping by 2. From 1, step 2, that is 2, 3, it prints 3. From 3, step 2 is 5. From 5, the next step 2 is 7, like that it goes. Now if I want to start from 0, let me start it from 0. I'll give like 0 like this. Let me run this code so you can see 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. Now this is how it works. Now let us see an example of how to use a for loop to iterate through a list. For example, let me have a list called as nums, and let me have some values, and this is not required for me. Let me pull this out, and here I say nums. Now here what this for loop will do is it loops through each and every value in the list. First time it loops through 10, second time it's 20, and third time 30 and 40 and 50. So let me run this code and you can see this for loop goes through the list and takes every value and then prints it out. This is how the for loop works on an object. It can be a list, a tuple, a set or anything. So let me give a tuple here and let us see how it iterates through the tuple. It iterates through the tuple same way it iterates as in the list. Now if I want to give it as a set, yes, that is also possible. Right, so you can see for set it doesn't give like 10, 20, 30, 40 because set is unordered. Let us see 2 important keywords, break and continue. Now when I say break, this break keyword helps me to break out of the loop, and continue keyword helps me to continue to the loop again, ignoring the statements which is below. Let me take an example. here I say range of 10, and let me say if my I is 5, I say break, and let me give a statement here, done. And let me run this code. Sorry, I missed the syntax here. And I just want to mention that, like, at the end of a for loop, at the end of if, and you can see that I'm giving colon. That's must. That's must. And if you miss that, it'll throw you an error. It's a syntax error. So make sure that you're giving colon at the end of a for loop or an if condition, or any loop and an if. Let me run this code. You can see the values going through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and when it reaches 5, it prints 5 here, and then when my I is 5, it says break. So when I say break, I'll break and come out of the loop. So it's completely coming out of the loop and it prints done. And now let me give the statement here. If I print it here, and you can see that it, I'm sorry, it will print 1, 2, 3, and 4, because after checking the condition only I'm printing. So it prints after checking the condition. So it's ignored 5, because when it reaches 5, it will break out of the loop. Right. Let me say continue here and see what happens. Let me run this code. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9, because when I say my if I is equal to 5 and I say continue, when this happens, when my I reaches 5, it ignores the statement whichever is below, and then it just directly continues to the loop. Now this is what the break and continue statements, or the keywords, does for my loop. Let me give an example for while loop. Let me tell you what is the difference between a for loop and a while loop. Now for loop iterates through certain number of values, but wherein the while loop keeps going into the loop until certain condition is met, or until you hit a break. Let me give an example so that you can understand. I say I assign 0. Let me initialize a variable called as I, that is 0, and let me check for the condition here, and I say print I. Now here I said print I, and the next line I need to change the value of I, or I need to increment the value of I. If I don't do this, my loop will go infinite number of times. So to stop the infinite loop, I may need to change the value. If I don't change this value, my I will be always 0 and this condition will be always satisfied. It is like almost like I am giving a condition like while true. Now when I say while true, it is always true. So make sure that you are initializing the value. This is called as initialization. I'm sorry. And this is where you check for the condition. And this is where you increment the value, or you can say an expression, and this expression is very important to change the value. Now when I run this code, you can see it will print 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and if you want 5 to be included, let me just give an less than equal to, so that it prints 0 to 5. And here also I can use the same break and continue. Now how do I use that? I can just say, I'm sorry, I say if I is equal to 4, and then say break. When I run this code, you get 0, 1, 2, and 3, because I've given the condition if I reaches 4, I need to break and come out of the loop. Now let us see how continue works. Let me say if I assign 5, and I say continue, and then say before that I may need to say I plus assign 1, and then say continue, or else I can print. Now run this code. You'll get 1 0 1 2 3 4 6 7 8 9 and 10. When it reaches 5, it increase the value, and then I continue to it. If I don't increment the value there, but I will be always 5, and this will be hit, this will hit always, right? So it will be always continuing, and that becomes an infinite loop. So when you are using while loop, you need to be very careful that you are changing the value of I, that is either incrementing or decrement the value of I based on the condition, right? That's very important. Make sure that you are always changing the value of I to satisfy, to make sure that that condition is getting satisfied always. Let me tell you one more important thing that we use in loop, that is else. Yes, we do use else in loop like this. Now here, when my condition fails here in the loop, it goes to the else part. When I do a break, right, when I break out of the loop, it doesn't come to the else part. I repeat again for your understanding, it will go to the else part only when the entire for loop execution is over. That is, when the for loop exits normally after completing all the work, it goes to the else part. Now wherein if I have a break in between, or if I'm going to break out of the loop in between, it doesn't go to the else part, it will break out. Now let me run this code. And when I run this code, my loop is going to run 5 times, because I've given the range as 5, that goes from 0 to 5, and here I am trying to get some input. Now I'm saying just enter 5 to break, because I've said like if brk is 5 and I say break. Now let me run this code for you so that you can understand. Okay, it says enter 5 to break. Now I'm going to press 1. It says again 2, 3, 4, let me say 6. Now it says that when my program exited, when my loop exited normally for all the 5 iterations, you can see it's got iterated 5 times, right? You can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my loop iterated for 5 times without any problem. So it went to the else part and said loop ended normally, and then it says out of the loop. If at all, let me say 1, 2, and let me give 5. If I say 5, you can see that the else part is not executed. It says that loop ended normally. This statement is not executed. It directly came out. It directly came out. Now this is the use of else. I want to do something when my loop exited normally. Those things I can do it in the else part. Now I repeat again just for your understanding, if at all I use a break inside the for loop, it will never enter the else part. It will directly come out of the for. Okay. So this else can be used in while as well. The same way what I use in for loop, I can use the else in while loop as well. That else part of the while loop will get executed only when my while loop exited normally after the complete execution of while loop. And if there is a break in between, then definitely it will not go to the else part. That's it for this video, guys. If you have any doubts or queries, please comment in the comment section. I will definitely get back to you. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and do subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon so that you will be getting notification of all other videos that I'm uploading in the near future. Thank you very much, guys.